My name's Nicholas Daines and I travel the world looking for the best wines I can find. I'm here in beautiful Sardinia to unlock the secret as to why Sardinian wines are like no other wines in the world. We've now headed inland right to the heart of Sardinia to a vineyard called Olianas, and the slopes of the vineyard go off in different directions, and the winemaker Piero Pegni explains that the wines can be grown naturally here because of the warming sun and cooling winds which obviate the need for pesticides and herbicides.
The major part of the fields that you see here are all Cannonau grapes.
Okay, so this is the home of Cannonau di Sardinia, yes?
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic. So that's my favorite because I love red wine.
Part of this biointegral concept is of course taking into consideration the sustainability from an environmental point of view. All the products that we use here on the farm, whenever they're not from our own production, we buy them from local producers as close to us as possible. When it comes to the people who work here, almost everyone, with really just one exception, which would be me, they all come from the area because there are very few work opportunities here in the area, so we try to contribute to that whenever we can.
So it's a really local, hands-on experience.
That's right.
Throughout the area, which I'm hoping is reflected in the characteristics of the wine as well.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is.
So I noticed you have lots of geese here. What's that all about?
Well, they're actually a part of our workforce. Well, as you can see, this part of the vineyards is actually quite clean at the moment. What they do is they just graze around in the vineyards. We let them out in the morning and they go out to eat all the weeds that grow between the rows.
30% of the very best premium hand-picked grapes go into these terracotta amphora for their fermentation process. The skins of the grapes are still on at this point, even the white wines. And the soil surrounding the terracotta amphora keeps the grapes at a constant temperature. It's actually at 22 degrees at the top and 12 degrees towards the bottom. And the shape of the amphora creates a movement within there for the grapes. So the skins of the grapes tend to come up to the top and form a cap, which has to be broken manually. And again, that causes more rotation of the grapes during this whole fermentation process. So how do you tell when the grapes are ready and the fermentation process is complete?
Well, that is something that has to be followed very carefully. You can't really say beforehand what is going to happen. So the winemakers have to follow it, taste it, almost on a daily basis to find out when is the right moment to interrupt the work in the buried amphora and move on to the next step in the process.
So now we're right in the heart of the cellar, and here the wine is aged in oak barrique barrels. The young Cannonau is kept for 8 months in used oak barrels, and then there's the Cannonau Reserva, which is kept for 2 years, which has much more strength and character. So now for my favourite part, the wine tasting. This is one of the vineyard's flagship wines, which is the Podigi, and this is the 2015 vintage. It's actually a red blend of 3 different grape varieties: Bovale, Carignano and Cannonau. It's 50% Bovale and then the rest is made up of the 2 other grapes. I'm detecting some chocolate, tobacco and small berries. It's quite a full flavoured wine, and they pair it here with the sheep cheese. So I'm going to try some pecorino here with my red wine. Locally made, of course, here in Sardinia. Oh wow, it's good on its own, but here we have the Cannonau Reserva 2014 vintage. Now, this is a wine that's made completely in the amphora, and It's an incredibly smooth wine. Despite being 2 years in oak barrels, you can still taste the smoothness, and it's delicious. You have that smoky oakiness, but red berries, lots of red fruit. Here at the Olianas vineyard, you really get to taste the full flavour of the wine because there's no enzymes used, there's no yeast, sulphur's kept to a minimum if the wine needs it, and there's no adjuvant added during fermentation or maturation. So you really get to taste that bio-integral philosophy, and the wine is just good for you. The wine from the Olianas vineyard is being exported to Europe and now to the United States, which shows the taste for Sardinian wine is growing. And I'm not surprised because it really is fantastic.